Hello, welcome pen friends. Welcome to day 9 of 30 Inks 30 Days. This was my choice for ink for today. It is from Straits Pen Honest Ink and it's called Slowpoke Green. And it came in the ink flight number 30. I believe that was the July one. Why am I hesitating? I do believe it was July. Okay, so let's take a quick look back at this one. This was yesterday. This was the Straits Pen Honest Ink Poor Man's Sapphire. I just wanted to say it cleaned out real easily, and that was no surprise. And it was great for letters. Now, it was really bright, but it just looks so beautiful on the paper. I used Hamlin Optic 90 GSM paper, and it was great. So this is today's. This is Slowpoke Green. Now, it behaved differently. You can tell right off the bat. This one has a little bit more water resistance, but it becomes gray. It turns from our green color right down to the kind of a grayish color. So let's see. Let's get right on to its page here. It's all by itself because we've moved to a new spread, but here it is. And I just got some really good news too, but here it is in the broad nib. And you can, if you can catch them, Straits Pen Honest Ink at a pen show, you can get it there or you can get it online through them. But I just got an email back from John at Lemur Ink, and he will be selling some. It's not up on the website yet, but I'm still going to link their website. That way we can all be kind of checking, because I'm not sure which ones. I have the 8 samples and I'm not sure which of those. But he did mention that he bought a bunch at the San Francisco show and he just hasn't listed them yet. But he'll let me know, and we can be checking the website too. Thank you very much. Pen friend Manda, I think, is the one that mentioned that had come out on Instagram, and I went ahead and emailed and checked with them. So it looked really nice, I thought, in the broad nib. And then the serendipity started to kind of run out of, I guess, power. I can see that now a little bit better. But I still got a good chance, all this part, to see what it looked like in that nib. And then the 1.5 Goulet stub, I loved it in that. I saw variation that I liked, but I also saw that up here. It's just harder to show, but I would call it, it's like right on the line between just line variation and shading, but I liked it a lot. I won't even go by this for dry time. I should have redone this, but in the interest of the kind of day I'm having, I didn't. But it does take a little while to dry. It took 35 seconds in the stub, and it took a little more than 25 in the fine nib. So that, I would say somewhere between there would be what our broad nib would dry at, probably 30. And I saw everything I needed to see on that. Now, okay, this is the chromatography. I thought that was neat. And what I wanted to do was just try to slide back to our Sailor ink that looked like this. And we can compare just a little bit by doing that. We could definitely compare the two chromatographies. This is today's on the right, and then this is the Sailor one that we just got done doing, the Tonkawa Matsu. Different, but they do have some similarity there. I'm seeing more saturation or darkerness in the Sailor ink, but I really like how the green kind of lightens a little in this one. And I realize it's awfully hard to really see well, but I thought it would still be worth a try there. And I also want to show you that I did go ahead and put it on 52 GSM Chamoy River paper so we could get a look at that. You know, it's just a glimpse, because here it is in the broad nib. And then I did with the stub at the top there, and splattered and painted and all that kind of thing. And there's the fine nib. So, you know, this is 68 GSM Chamoy River paper. I should have said that right from the start for those who are new. I don't see just a huge difference at all, but I like it on both. Oh, we had a little bit of bleed through or seep through on the splattering. And here, there's only a ghosting on this 68 GSM. So let's just push that aside. And let's look on the Rhodia. Here, this is Rhodia 80 GSM paper. Here it is in the broad nib. I got things all straightened out in that nib for this one. And it did take about 30 seconds to dry on here in the broad nib. I was liking the variation I was seeing in the kind of scribbles. And also just slightly I could see it, like a little light, mild shading in the writing too. And then I really liked it in the stub. That's becoming, it's like I wish I could write better with that, because I have been using it for letter writing in the evening just to practice. So that's been fun. 30 seconds to dry in the broad nib. Well, 25 it was dry, so I tried to back up a little and it was still smearing at 20 seconds. And then in the fine nib, 20 seconds to dry. And my note on this paper was, oh my, I really didn't finish on that other paper. I wrote, awesome, I do love this one, flow, color, subtle shading. I'll be watching for this ink and hoping it becomes available, widely available. Yeah, I really will. Okay, my note down here said, I love this ink. It's a color I favor and flows very nicely, with some shading and some water resistance. Slightly lighter than Sailor Tonkawa Matsu. Yeah. And now we know that soon it looks like Lemur Ink will be uploading theirs to their site. So that's good. Okay, this is CVS caliber paper, a very inexpensive notebook, a 5x7. And I felt it really did lighten on here. I think you can see that as you glimpse across the samples even. It just lightened and brightened a little, and that's what this paper sometimes does. But it didn't bother me. In fact, I really liked it. I thought, oh, okay. So I may or may not want one this dark, generally speaking, unless I'm writing on this paper. So that's going to make me examine closer the other samples that I have. Here it is in the broad nib, 25 seconds to dry. In the Goulet stub, probably just a little more than 25, because it was still smearing a little. Oh, 30, okay. All right, so by 30, it was satisfactory and dry. And then in the fine nib, I felt like it did really well in the fine nib everywhere. It's still lightened on here. And you may, yeah, I think you can even see that through all of the, what we have to go through with the camera and the light. And I've got natural light to my left, so I got a good advantage with that. But, okay, I said note, lightens slightly, but good ink paper match. And I do like that. I didn't have there was no scratchiness. There was no problem with dragging across this paper. And there was just a little bit of ghosting, which is normal. It's almost like the 68 GSM Tomoe River. So let's see if I can keep that still for a minute, and then we can see. This is the other Tomoe River, the 52 GSM. It's just, I'm just finding time just to do a little bit of a shortened version of what I normally do, but hopefully this will help you. My goal is always to show you enough that you know whether you want to sample the ink. And that's a little bit tricky with this one, since I don't think there's samples yet available, but still, we'll just do our best to, to compare them. So here's our comparison panel for today. And I really believe it's probably a lot like the Sailor one, because these are the ones I have in this category. So here we are in the middle with Slowpoke Green for day 9. And this was our day 3 ink, Sailor. And I'm probably not saying it right, because unless I keep some kind of a cheat sheet, and even when I do, I have trouble. So I apologize to anybody whose native language I'm mangling. But there it is. Very pretty. Now, let me get my thoughts collected. I did notice that just on the surface, Diamine Classic Green looked a lot like this one. And I remember Krishna Sufi, that's a limited edition. I remember that being gorgeous, but it is darker in a nib, so it might have kind of held me back a little. But on my green playlist, you'll be able to see that if you're interested in some of these, and which ones I've done. The green playlist is probably the best way to go. And then the Tasha Olive Green is lighter, and it has a brightness to it. And I remember I really liked that too. So this is an area where I just wish I had like 5 or 10 mils of every one of them. Because I'm afraid to commit to a bottle in this group because I like them all so much, and I'm afraid I would want to be with several of them. So yeah, here's Birmingham Field Tourniquet. Now it made the panel, even though it doesn't, neither one of these, the Tasha ink and the Birmingham, they look out of place, I think, quite a bit out of place. But I still thought we could compare them. And then we've got our darker ones. We've got Monteverde Olivine, which is gorgeous. It's just really pretty. For me, I think oftentimes I find that too dark coming out of a nib, but I'm now getting really interested in stub nibs, so I may be able to see different results now. And then Diamine Safari and Noodler's Army Green they're really pretty. They've got an extra brightness to them. So I had a lot of fun with this, but I do have more, and I'm hoping it won't be too much more, but I've had good feedback about doing this, so I'll keep it up. This is a, classic regular green, KWZ green number 5, so that we can see where these come in against what I'd call a crayon green, or something they're going to give you in primary colors in art class. I used to love art. I had art all through high school. It was the thing that got me through, I think. So there's that one. And then this one is an unusual one. This is Kyoto Tag Ki no Odo, and I'm not even going to try. That's one I've already done profile on. And it's got a different look to it, but I still thought we might look at it. It was complex and it was pretty. Probably a little bit light for me, if I remember right. And then, well, this one is an oddball, but for this panel anyway, Colorverse Sea of Tranquility, but I thought I'd just show it. It kind of weighs in and helps you maybe if you have seen it. Oh, here's another odd one. Almost feels like we've done this, but no. Kyoto Tag, this was much brighter, and it kind of belonged maybe, yeah, it belonged more as a comparison for Noodler's Army Green, but still, that's a really pretty and exotic kind of ink, I think. Okay, another green one that borders more on regular green, but it's not that primary color green, is Diamine Sherwood Green. So you can just see where we're at. Okay. Private Reserve Avocado almost made the panel because it just seems like a much darker, in a similar ballpark, but then I thought, no, I had some that were more suitable, so it didn't make the panel. Okay, and then, oh, wow, Pelican Edelstein Olivine, same thing. It was nice, but it veered into a different green. It didn't have the guts, it didn't have the, the inner, what we were seeing chromatography-wise. That would be a better word. Sherwood Green, I already showed you. Oh, I don't know why, but I pulled this one out. Noodler's Polar Green. Huh. And that's it's just not a really comparable, but, So, but I thought, well, I'll include it. Okay, so let's see what I thought of this ink by looking at my little entry in the Pen Thing booklet. It's an ink swatch plot log that was sent to me free by Brian at the Pen Thing. Here we go. Oh, I forgot to do the swatch. Shoot. Well, we'll take care of that in a minute because we've got something else to do. And I can do that right here. I wrote down, I really like this color, the flow, the subtle shading, great ink. Yeah, I really like it. Saturation, I gave it a high mark for that. It held up even in the Lamy Fine nib, which can be a very dry nib. Flow was excellent. It was, oh wow, it was excellent. And yet, I didn't feel as if it was going to make it bleed through paper because of that. Shading was good. It was not like heavy shading. It was very subtle, but I liked it. I just skipped bleeding and feathering, except for the fact that I did notice that it did a little bit of spreading on this paper. This paper right here. Not too much, but let's see if I can hold that up. See, that was actually written in the fine nib when I came back in to write it small, and I saw some spread. So that makes me just wonder. I know I'm using really good paper for these 30 inks 30 days, so Okay, no sheen, no halo, no shimmer that I could see. And overall, I gave it an 8 or, you know, maybe even higher. But I was recognizing if I gave it a lot higher, it would have been for the color probably. I just love it. Anyway, okay, so we'll keep this handy because I thought maybe you'd like to come along with me while I do a little art, little visual journal stuff. But I have to kind of relocate my water. And I'm not sure if how it's going to work. I've already cleaned my paintbrush, so that'll be the first thing we'll do. We'll take care of this omission here because I have a little bit left in the vial. Not as much as it looks like because it's real thick. Okay, I don't know. There. That's how I do it. And then I'll have to let that dry. Okay, so I've got my paper right here. And I've got my pens. I'm really curious, especially due to the chromatography, what this one is going to do. So I thought at the end of the video here, we'd just try it. I don't think I forgot anything important, except I will show you what's for tomorrow in a minute here. I'm going to try to... Sometimes I don't get enough, so let's make sure there's enough. Okay. There we go. Kind of excited to see what this might do. Especially as it starts to dry. Because, whoa, that's movable. Look at that go. That's neat. Sometimes I don't know. This is not what Nick Stewart teaches this part about. I just like doing this because I feel like I get a start with the ground stuff just with the paintbrush. I don't think that's how he teaches it at all. I'm not a very good student of his, but I love to do it anyway. I love to try it out. And I have this theory that the edges are going to be interesting because of the chromatography. So let's see if I can get some down here without too much leaking. Okay. Whoop. I think we'll use the broad nib. Ooh, that's neat. It almost looks like roots as it's going down. Okay, now this is where I usually go wrong. I linger too long and I forget about coming back up here to just do... This is the Lamy fine nib. Oh, see, this is a good color for a tree, so you can really get... Now, it may like fuzz out. Sometimes we get more detail when we first start. See how much detail there is? Then as it dries, I often have the problem of it just sort of fuzzing out. But I do like to make... and you know, trees are not perfect. They get beaten by the wind and I shouldn't be worrying about exactly, you know, being so touchy about it. Okay, let me see if I can get another one. This is very suited for this. Not only in the chromatography, but the fact that it is giving me a chance to do this. I talk too much, I swear. I need to start doing silent ones and then just putting music. Okay. Oh, that's a funny looking tree. See, I just can't leave it alone. I have to come back in and... There. Okay, that's a little better. That is really suited for this technique. I think you can see that, how... Because some of them just don't... They sort of disappoint you, but that's pretty. You can have all kinds of little details going on. Whoops. One of the hardest things for me is getting over the idea that there's such a thing as a mistake. This is a very kind of serendipity kind of thing. Oh, that is gorgeous. I hope it doesn't all fuzz out, but I know that some of that detail we're only going to get right now, and later when it dries, I'll show you. But okay, so how about two things? I want to show you what's for tomorrow, and then we'll just ask our question that we always ask. So tomorrow, we're continuing our study of Straits Pen Honest Ink, and tomorrow is Sad Stormy Swedish Sea. I think there's a lot of interest in this blue. I'm not sure how many I have that'll go with it or, you know, compared to it, but that's the fun. That is the fun. And then I think, yeah, we have another blue that's much more almost blue-black there for the following day. But this will be tomorrow, day 10. And now I need to ask the question, what did you think of today's ink? I think it's exciting for us here in the U.S. that Lemur, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but I will link you so you'll know where to check, will be carrying some of these inks. Really awesome. I have my eye on this company, and it seems they're getting into inks, and they have some good stuff. So I'd love to know what you think, or also anything you think about related colors I don't have, colors that you may like in this family. I love to hear the comments. So have a great day, and thank you very much for joining me. Bye for now.